Hello. Sorry, I know I hate that cheesy countdown, but I needed an extra few seconds. I am so sorry that I am late. I was rushing to get some stuff done in our yard and realized my timer went off, and I was like, oh, crud. And I was trying to race back here. I hate being that late person, and I hate those cheesy timers, so I do apologize. I thought I had plenty. I never give myself enough time like that. And it's very frustrating because I hate being a late person. I really do. I'm not late in real life. I kind of go by that philosophy of if you're early, you're on time. If you're on time, you're late. And if you're late, don't bother showing up. But let me say hi to everyone coming in real quick. Hello, Brandy. Oh, what's this? Um, Peppermint Smoke. I think she was talking about Leilani's court case, not the West trial. Yes, thank you too. Uh, I think it might have been the pressure from just a girl was in her chat when I was recording, and she wasn't mean, she wasn't rude, she was very kind, and she was just diligently saying, "Hey, this is the rules. This is the rules. Please shut it down." So I give her a lot of credit. I hope that's not the case. I hope a mistrial is not the case, and maybe I'm interpreting it incorrectly, but I really hope that yeah. But the judge, he announced it again, and we'll go over that, but ooh. Hi, Queen Bella and Daisy. Hi, Salty Sea. Cheesy Weezy. I love that name, by the way. Cheesy Weezy. While she was streaming it, I sent a message to the court and the DA. Oh, good. Hi, Grandma Sherry. Blunt B. They were deleting everyone. I didn't even bother commenting in there because I just knew it would instantly get deleted. And that's one of the points I want to talk on. Yeah. If you have a bunch of people, not just your typical people that are giving you grief, but at one point she even stated, there's a bunch of names in here I've never seen before. Well, that's a good indicator that it's bigger than you. It's bigger than any YouTube beef or YouTube drama. It's about, the actual facts and what's going on and, people genuinely caring about the West boys and wanting her to shut it down so that, no more trauma or anything like that could happen in the trial. And I just don't understand that mentality of not listening when you have so many people telling you one thing. Because when it gets to that point, it's not about hate, it's not about attacking. Let's see. She said at the end of her show, she will record the audio and play it after court. Well, I hope that that is just her misunderstanding what is allowed, because as we all know, that every trial, the judges in any trial can set their own rules if they want. And so we know for the Vallow trial right now, you can't listen to it happening live, but you can, listen to the recording after the day is over. And so maybe she's thinking that's what can happen here in the West trial when we know that it's not. Well, hey Gemini, I'm glad you made it in. I know that's the big thing, isn't it, Salty C? So many of us have been listening to this trial every day that it's been on, and so if they take it away from everyone who's listening because one person couldn't follow the rules, she's gonna have more than just the typical people that are reviewing her wanting to discuss it. And the thing is, Cheesy Weezy, she was reading some of those orders and she just wasn't getting it, was she? She's like, "I'm not in the courthouse. I'm not in the courthouse." And I was just calm to forehead moment, like, this can't be real life. This lady can't be legit. My thing jumps on me, sorry. Hey, New Zealand. Hi, it's me, Amberly. She did. Chaos, she thought it was only haters. And no, it was I saw names in there that I've seen in other streams that don't typically go in and make comments on streams like hers. And they just genuinely care about these boys. Hey, voices. Michelle, she streamed about 15 minutes of the West, of Jacqueline and Trezell West trial. As we all know, or most of us know, but definitely creators in true crime should know that the judge has ordered it not to be rebroadcasted, restreamed, anything like that. Yep, I'm going to bring that up, Cheesy Weezy. But is Team still broadcasting in her Discord? I have no idea. I'm not in their Discords or their paywalls, so I have no clue about that. I don't think she hacked the audio, Peggy. She went in the same way the rest of us have. Oh no, I don't think she hacked it. Mm-mm. Thank you, Mystical Magnolias. Yeah, I think she was having a real issue with that, wasn't she? The not accepting that she was in the wrong. Just come back graciously and be like, "Oh, you guys are right. I'm so sorry. Let me shut this down." That's not how it went. Finally, people saying it's about the West Boys in summer and not about everything else. Hi, Fairy Dust. Yeah, her own members. Someone was like, one of the mods was like, "You're a member here. You need to be nice." That's another thing. Talking to someone, telling them, "Hey, you're in the wrong and you really need to shut this down." One, I don't understand why a lot of people read text in a negative tone instead of a positive tone. Like instantly jump to negative, like, "Oh, that has a negative connotation to it." Instead of like, "Ooh, maybe these people are trying to help me." Now, I guess I kind of get it. If you have a lot of haters coming at you all the time or a lot of people critiquing you, maybe. But if you're seeing it repeatedly, then something's up. Belvie, I've said it before, I'll say it again. I'll cover what I want to cover. I'm one person. There's lots of people covering lots of creators. There's so much of that uh, on YouTube. So much. Okay. I would like to know that as well, Peggy. Why did she wait for today? The the trial began on March 23rd, I do believe. Now they did take a whole week off, but it has been going strong for, I think we're actually on day 8. I'd have to look it up. Day 8 or 9 of the actual trial. And I don't think she's covered it before. My guess is because the stock trial is not going. It's a Thursday. They are not in court on Thursday. And the Valo trial, you have to wait for the audio to come out at the end of the evening. But just a little bit of research would have shown you why nobody else is sharing this. Nobody else, there's recaps out there on YouTube, but nobody is live streaming anything from the trial. And it's not just YouTube creators, it's all over the internet. People just are not doing it. And if you would have been following from day one, you'd know what the judge ordered. You know, because it was heavily talked about by so many people. Very frustrating, and I get that frustration because I would love for some of my favorite true crime creators to be live streaming this throughout the day. We all would. I wouldn't even fault her audience. That they want to hear it. I get it. Well, I'm not gonna go for the doxing, but troll away. Yeah, she's been a little too busy in Georgia. I know, I don't get that, but it doesn't bug me, it rolls off my back. But I'm just I I can't cover everyone, obviously. Yes, Real Lady Justice, I'm sorry, I'm behind. I will drop a link in just 1 second. Sorry, this for some reason, my comment section keeps jumping. I will do that in just 1 second. What I wanna do real quick is read off what Mystery Maven wrote because she put it into words better than I ever could have. And so let me pull that up real quick. And then once I have that out of the way, I will definitely drop a link. Okay. So right here on her community post, and we can go through the court order and the news articles because I have those pulled up as well. But I want to read this first and then I'll drop a link for Real Lady Justice. She said, if you do not have prior written judicial authorization, stop live streaming the audio in the West trial. You need to read and reread the Kern County court rules. And if you have doubts, then call the court to clarify. And she did put the little excerpt here. It says, the live stream court proceeding may not be photographed, recorded, audio or video, or rebroadcast by anyone without prior Betty, written judicial authorization consistent with California Rules of Court, Rule 1.150, and Kern County Superior Court Standing Order 19 0005. But right there was a big clue written. Because she kept saying, I called, they walked me through this, which we found out at the end of her stream that, the lady said, well, maybe you just got a helper today or something. But it says it when you bring up the Metro Division audio page, it says it right above there, right above there. And Mystery Maven goes on to say, what you are doing is outrageous, not only broadcasting the audio, but you are also recording it on your channel. This is in defiance of the court, and you are jeopardizing access to this audio for everyone, but especially the family and loved ones of sorry, I can't speak. Especially the family and loved ones of the victims who may not be able to attend this trial in person. You may also be held in contempt of court for your actions. The contempt of court thing is a possibility because the judge ruled on this, but also the sentence above that is what really stuck out to me because jeopardizing the access to this audio for the family members and the loved ones of I almost, classic and sincere, Orrin and Orson, whatever you choose to call them. I prefer classic and sincere, but I know most people do Orrin and Orson. But jeopardizing listening to the audio for those family members that are not able to attend this trial in person is devastating in my book. The judge has only authorized the opening, closing, and verdict to be recorded and played by the news pursuant to a court order. This is why you are not finding any live streams or audio recordings. In fact, all of the legitimate news channels covering the case have in-court reporters daily who are taking notes and live tweeting for anyone to follow. In her stream, she said, well, how is the news getting away with sharing the audio? They're not. If you've looked into this, you would know that they're not. This is an inconvenience for many, and many dislike the reality of limited access. But it's nevertheless the way it is, whether anyone likes it or not. So if you are truly a self-proclaimed victim's advocate, please stop and do the right thing. Thank you. And I love how she worded that because she did so without, she engaged with empathy. She engaged with empathy. Sorry, now let me grab you a link here real quick. All right, there we go. I'm sorry, I'm trying to get better at this whole live streaming business. She claimed she called and they walked her through it. I'm sure they did in order to listen, not to stream. I agree, Chasing. I thought the exact same thing when she said, I called and a clerk walked me through this and they knew exactly what, that I was going to be streaming it. I don't believe that. I'm sorry. I don't believe for 1 second that that's what happened. Hello.
Hello. Hey, I figured I'd give some legitimate and backed facts as a
I
licensed
would
attorney
love that.
for over 33 years. Although I'm
Mhm.
not familiar with every jurisdiction, they on the basic premise they all operate the same. So every court proceeding, because I saw Glares had a smart aleck. His smart aleck comment is, freedom of the press. Here's the deal: every court across this entire nation, with limited exceptions, which are like juvenile proceedings and some of those matters, has to be open to the public. Okay, there's a number of ways that you can make a proceeding open to the public.
Mm-hmm.
The courtroom, like during COVID, the courtrooms weren't open.
Right.
So that's where many of the courts updated their systems to be able to stream their proceedings. But even then, like, there wasn't, a mass amount of people that were out there looking at things. So open to the public can be satisfied. In a case like this, the judge could have simply said, open to the public is this courtroom. Okay. And once the courtroom's full, it's full. In cases that are higher profile, this is what that clown doesn't understand is that in high profile cases, well before the trial, is media, credentialed, legal, people that do media for credentialed media places, print and TV, they will go to the court and apply for access to the courtroom to
Right.
do those proceedings. Now, that's not the order that you read, okay?
Mm-hmm.
The order that you read is a standing order that almost it's an administrative order that almost every court has, that's issued by the presiding judge to kind of overall govern, because every locality, whether it's a district or circuit court, each chief judge has the jurisdiction to issue that administrative order. So that's just a standing order on the process, but you still have to go and apply. And that's where the written order comes, is in that court file. There will be signed authorizations by the judge that says who applied and who got, granted permission. So it's probably the local media, maybe court TV, maybe Law and Crime, right?
Right.
Those people would also have in their order the same language, possibly, because you don't really need it. It's already there, and it would be cumulative, that you can't record, rebroadcast, or stream. As a lawyer, And, we saw anyone that saw the Murdaugh case or the Depp case, the attorneys, we can't even record. It's against the law.
Right.
We cannot even record in our own proceedings for our own use, which obviously in these big trials would be super helpful, right? Because we could record and it would transcribe it with our devices right into words, and we don't have to wait on the court reporter, but we can't even do that.
Right.
So what happens then is that order is issued. Now, if there's a lot of media, what will happen is the judge will designate somebody as the pool reporter.
Correct.
The pool reporter will be allowed in the courtroom, and two ways they do the pool reporter. The pool reporter will be in the courtroom, and all of the other media that has been given a written order and applied, they'll be in an overflow room. It generally doesn't give a stream outside of the courthouse itself. In other words, they can broadcast from the courtroom, let's say next door, or it's usually on a different floor. It's a larger room that's more set up for media. They'll go in that room and they can hear the proceedings sometimes. Sometimes they have to rely on the pool reporter, but that would be the way to accommodate a lot of media. Then what happens is, in this case, what was happening with the clerk, and I wrote this on Mystery Maven, she laid it all like right out there. And this is a case of, and I don't mean to be disrespectful at all, like by saying this, but this is what happens when people pretend to be lawyers. Like, being a lawyer is
I
not
agree.
easy. We have, 4 years of college, 3 years of law school. And I can tell you, in my 33rd year, I'm still learning, and it's different everywhere. And we learn in school and in our practice what all this means. It's not as basic sometimes as it looks like. So she's reading, blow fraud is reading an order in a vacuum, not in context with everything else or the process. Okay. Understanding the process. But she clearly understood when people were in her stream telling her, and she was, justifying herself in saying that she called the courts. I know, here's what I'll say about that. You can call, and I can think of a small jurisdiction. So every circuit court or court that hears felony cases, they're not just one judge. There's a number of judges, and their dockets. Everybody across this country is packed right now because there's a COVID backup, because criminal proceedings had to be conducted in person. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So it's super, super busy. And the clerk's office, the clerk of the court is really generally an administrative person. And the people that are taking filings, whether they're electronic or physical filings, and, doing all that, work under that clerk. So if she's calling the court and calling the clerk of the court and saying this and this and this and this and this, the clerk or whoever, it probably wasn't the clerk of the court, but it was somebody that works there. There's no way that an employee that works in the clerk's office, or the elected clerk, right? There's no way that they know what's happening and all the technical, nuances in every courtroom. It doesn't happen like that. They don't even have access to the file. The file, so that's also what the clerk's office does. They'll pull files for different cases and get them into the right courtroom at the right time. And even then, it's sometimes hard to get the paper to catch up with the file. It's kind of crazy, but that's how it is. But so that order, with this big of a trial coming up, that entire case file isn't in the clerk's office. It's up in the judge's chambers.
Right.
So the clerk downstairs or wherever in the same building isn't even going to have access to orders, even some rulings in trials that are reduced to writing. What's the Letitia chasing? Tracy is showing that trial, and I know the judge.
The stop. Yeah.
Yeah, and the judge in that case has made a number of rulings and said, I'll get the order and I'll add an order in the file, which means that he's reducing them to writing, not just on the record. But the point is, the only one that really knows exactly what happened is the judge, who has the entire file, and his judicial assistants. The judicial assistants, good ones, okay, they're not making any move without, like, if there was a call that came in, was transferred up to the JA's office, that JA isn't going to do anything without talking to the judge. You just don't do that. Okay. So she may have called the clerk's office, and she may have also represented herself as media and been given a cursory form of stuff. But I guarantee you that
Well,
we know what the judge, we know it got up to the judge's chambers what was happening by what he said on the record.
right. Well, and I don't even think that she presented herself as media. And this is just my opinion, of course, but I don't think that she even let them know she was restreaming it because this is such a, you know, hot, high profile case right now. And they have been, covering this issue earlier in the trial. There was an issue of people streaming it. I don't know
Oh,
if they specifically said in discords, but in like private servers, I think is how they worded it, and they shut it down as quickly as they could. Like, so
okay.
this has been an ongoing issue for
Okay.
this case.
And I'm not familiar with that. So the other thing I'm going to say is, for folks that say, so the ruling is contempt, and wow, we should hold Betty in contempt, right?
Mhm.
Here's the real problem on that. And I wrote on Mystery Maven's page, and I hope she follows what I'm saying. I'm not going to tell people what the real process is on YouTube so that they can pose and get in and flood, the actual, get in deeper into the plug, up into the higher ups, and make a mess. Okay. But any lawyer or media knows the real process of how to get this done. So the contempt piece, the problem with the contempt piece is the judge doesn't have jurisdiction outside of his circuit. And arguably in outside of his circuit, but for sure no jurisdiction outside of the state.
Mhm.
So the judge would have to issue an order to show cause, and it's not direct contempt because direct contempt is criminal and the
Right.
judge has to see it. So, either way, I mean, issuing a order to show cause, like, he doesn't have the authority to do that. So here's what I would do if I was a judge. And I advise a lot of judges in my state that are younger and coming up. I would, if for the family, I would what I would do is disconnect the stream. I know that that's not what people want to hear, but I feel like a message needs to be sent.
Well, and I
Especially
and
if it's an ongoing issue, but he
that is
needs to.
why so many of us and so many people in her stream were trying to get her to shut it down because that is the number one concern that the judge will just cancel the stream altogether. And there are family members and
Well, here's what
other
he can do for
people that
family
want to
members.
hear this.
Right. The family members can be accommodated. Um, and any, like, family members could be accommodated because they can get us the. So what I would do is the courtroom's open to the public. When it's full, it's full. If there's
Mhm.
more media, I'd do a media room. I'd disable the link for outside people to hear because there's no way to enforce it. And then what I would do is for family, which is often done for family post COVID, is they can have a link via the prosecutor. So the prosecutor could ask for, and the defense, and then the judge can keep a little bit of a tighter hold on that. And the argument on that, like them being kind of getting a little bit different treatment, is A, they're victims, but B is, if you're going to limit the broadcast or the ability for people to participate by just that courtroom, you're actually giving the courtroom more people. And so there's really shouldn't be a bitch. But the prosecutor and the defense can control. It's a more controlled environment. And again, I get it, but I don't understand. Here's what I don't understand. Betty, I don't know. I know last week I was out of state, and listening to Betty was streaming stuff and just putting it on, and there's no interaction. And I know Tracy does feeds, and I'll listen to hers because it's just, uninterrupted. And I know Emily Baker, I like her, but I just don't like all the interruptions. I just want to listen to it. And so
Mhm.
my question is why do people, if there's the availability of the link, why do people have to publicly broadcast at all? Why can't they just, listen to with your iPods, whatever? Why do you have to have the chat and all that? And the chat, And what's happening, and the studies have proved this, because this is a phenomenon that's happening across the country, and judges are looking at this at judicial conferences, and that is YouTube is actually the biggest violator of it, in terms of the where it goes, but even um, the court TV, because Law and Justice, Crime and Justice, or whatever it is, doesn't do it, but is the commentary is so biased that it, taints the jury. And so the defendant has a right to a, due process and a fair, trial, and without the outside influences or tainting. And if we can't, and a judge has an obligation to keep kind of that outside interference outside of the presence of the jury, right? So if he can't, if we taint the jury pool, and I very much feel that Murdaugh juror, that's brother was law enforcement, I feel like he was doing outside research based on some of the stuff he said that was uncovered by YouTuber, in law enforcement, in terms of the threshold on the door and stuff like that. I believe very much that happened. But regardless, if it's out there and the jury's not segregated, which is really, really, really expensive and burdensome also on the jury, is you really don't, the more you have out there, the more ability there is for people to get on the jury to get access to other people's opinions and what's happening. And we saw with that Kylie Rodney and some of these, actually almost every case, these crazy theories that are just way out there. And you don't want that kind of outside presence to taint the pool. And I mean, that's kind of what's happening. So unfortunately, this is a problem that continues, and it's getting, in my opinion, and I only know a small fragment of the crama, which is what I'll call Betty community, and true crime community. But the thing is at some point, it's just gotten out of control. At some point, it's either going to be a total shutdown, or judges are going to have to think through their policies and how they make this stuff available. Because if this jury pool gets tainted and there's a mistrial, um, that isn't going to come out of Betty's pocket. That bitch don't pay taxes. Okay.
Right. Well, I don't know
It,
whether she pays taxes
well,
or
I'm going to
not,
say I
but
know her grifts and her Amazon wish list, which, by the way, is taxable income, is the fact of the matter is, even if she does, okay, she's not a taxpayer there in that county. The county taxpayers will have to fund a new trial. There is
Mhm.
not a county in America right now that has the adequate resources for their judicial system. It's just the judiciary system is, it's funded by your local, county, state government. Okay. And it's really, really, really hard to get funding. So that's going to come at a huge cost to the taxpayers in that county. And, you know, and here we go, people on YouTube just kind of go on their merry way. They'll be on the next case trying to, exploit and do whatever they can for clicks and views. Now, Betty, I saw, only had about 300 or so people in her chat. And I only caught the tail end of it.
Okay, Lady Justice, you move so fast, so there's like no break for me to kindly
Oh, go ahead.
interrupt.
Sorry,
So
sorry.
I want to go back to about like four things you said prior.
Okay.
Why other I have no issue at all with Betty wanting to live stream a trial. The same way I take no issue with other true crime creators wanting to live stream a trial, and people gathering in their chats to discuss the case. I think that that is fair and valid for people to do, and I don't see an issue with that, as long as you are following the rules of the court. And this court had a specific rule in place. And
Right.
do I understand it or agree with it? No, but it is the rules of the court. And like you said later, if we don't follow these rules, it will be shut down across the board. And that's my issue, is when a creator who proclaims to be a true crime creator. I'm not saying she is, that's what she proclaims, right?
Right.
When
Right.
you proclaim to be a true crime creator and you proclaim that you're doing your due diligence and you continually do these things that overstep the line and overstep the bounds, what's going to happen is it's going to ruin it for the rest of the true crime creators that are putting in their due diligence and their hard work and having, playing by the rules, so to speak, so that they can continue to offer this to their
Right.
subs.
Right. Right.
And so that's where I think
I
my
I
frustration and
agree,
possibly a
but
lot of others comes in.
yeah, but I agree with you, but I would say that if I watch and chasing is the really I can't think of off the top of my head because I'm in like kind of midstream in work right now is when you're streaming it or glare if you're streaming it and there's you can't really the engagement and the opinions and the whatever because even as law and crime has some crazies but they say whatever they say they're not doing the clickbait stuff afterwards with stuff that's not factual and not true
Hmm.
and there's no way to regulate that but you can see where that would impact somebody's right to get a fair trial, right?
Right.
So I don't know where it's a balance and it's a privilege, not a right to have the ability. It's a privilege that the court would extend the stream and mistakenly think that it was just going to be listened to by individuals, but you know what I'm saying? So it's finding the balance. And I don't know how you find the balance without somehow um, there being some restraints. Now, I do know that, like, if you rebroadcast, it used to be a year, 2 years ago, you rebroadcast court TV, or somebody's getting sued for the WFLA feed. You're
Yes.
rebroadcasting somebody's feed. Um, you're going to get hit for rebroadcasting their content. So that's like that's the trip up that there is with having a pool reporter is then you have all these people that are streaming and they're restreaming that and they strike you. So I don't know what the solution is. But I do know that it's out of hand. And I know if I had a trial that was high publicity for my client, wouldn't matter what side of the V they're on, I would not be going for a public proceeding like this. I would be
Well,
asking just because it's out of control.
well, that's why I think the solution that a lot of us are recommending for the time being is playing by the rules. It's very simple,
Right, right.
very simple.
Couldn't you? And this is what I don't understand either. So I don't know what, but on the administrative end, I don't know that this would be one thing I would consider too is so the court can stream and keep those with a broken link and then upload them later and you can listen to the trials if you're about true crime and whatever. It's just not happening in real time, and that's kind of like one of the downsides. There's some benefits in our world of everything happening right now, whether it's on your phone or whatever, but there's downsides to that too. But you would still have access to the information. It's just given the length of the trial, you want to know right now, right?
Right, and we all do, and what we're having to rely on is turning to, reporters that are in the courtroom, live tweeting what is going on. And we're already seeing a step back of trials happening, like the stock trial is happening where it is streamed daily
And then
to
look at
more
the Valo trial.
of
They're not
this in the Valo, right, where you're getting a delayed audio or you're getting to hear the audio, but you can't restream it. And so if we keep inching closer to that, then it's going to lead very quickly into completely shutting it down.
right. And something that people don't think about. And so I talked about the costs on the county, the taxpayers, um, to for if there's a mistrial. The state courts will feed some of the money, not a lot, but into to technology and that. So it's become, and in this case, specifically in this case, they didn't anticipate as many people taking the link, and so the link is limited, and then there's too many people in, right? So it's bandwidth. I mean, it's technology in that and upgrades that are needed. So it's just, I mean, I think that we need to remember, I like the Valo case is, yeah, follow the rules, but I mean, there's always people that think that they're above it. And the Valo case, I don't, it's not the same. Let's just say that with getting the feed a little bit later in the day. I think, or the next day, I think, at least you're getting it and you
Yes.
listen to it. I think that, I mean, and everybody has access, right, the next day, and if you want to restream it, fine. So maybe it's that, but I don't know on this case exactly what the whole history of it is, but I do know the streaming and why. And I heard or saw in Betty's chat in the maybe 3 or 4 minutes I was in there, well, we have a right, and well, I really care about these, babies and whatever. Well, you know what? You don't if you can't follow the rules. The rules are pretty clear.
Hmm.
And for Betty to be as tone deaf as she was when nobody else is restreaming it, give me a break.
Right. When there are so many creators who have covered this case from beginning to current, and they're not even, restreaming it, they're giving recaps and stuff. And like I said, even reporters, if you say, because she said in her stream, I don't watch other creators. I don't necessarily believe that, but okay, if you don't, that's fine. Look at what the reporters are even doing. They're not even, sharing
Oh,
out audio from this.
yeah, when I
It's
saw
just
Midstream
simple.
Maven post is I didn't realize that the reporters, it was that tuned in where they're just tweeting out, the updates and, that type of thing is, um, everybody else. But here's the thing. This is her thing. She likes to throw around due diligence. I did my due diligence. I did my due diligence. Well, so did every other freaking creator. And they understood the rules and followed it.
Mhm.
But you didn't. Because what? You're smarter than everybody else?
Right. It's a
You know?
simple Google search. It's a simple search. And it's as simple as reading what is right above where you click on the audio stream.
Right.
It's reading comprehension, understanding what you're doing. And those are very simple things. But
So
as a
help me.
creator,
Go ahead.
it should be also taking it a step further. If you are a true crime creator, it should be engaging with empathy and doing the victims, giving them the justice that they deserve, which means doing your research and knowing what you can and cannot do as it pertains to a trial.
Right. Right. I didn't know. So tell me this, when you go in to listen to the broadcast, is there like a message that comes up before it gets into the feed telling you what the rules are?
Yep, here I can pull it up for
Yeah,
you.
see, it's like when I do a proceeding in my state, we do it by Zoom, and it says right on the screen, and then it's put out on YouTube, right? And it says right on the screen
So right
what
here,
the
can you
rules are.
see that?
Oh, yeah.
It says users of the court's audio streaming service are reminded of the general prohibi- prohibition against the photography. I can't read it, it's too small. Hang on. Photographing, recording, and rebroadcasting of court proceedings, including those held by telephone or video conference. Any recording of a court proceeding is absolutely prohibited without a court order. Violation of this order of the court is punishable as contempt pursuant to Code of Civic Procedure 1209.
Right. But that, and then you
So
click into
you're
the link.
saying this is a general.
Yeah, so I'm saying
Mhm.
that someone might not necessarily read it, but that's pretty clear, like that to me. But I heard what she was arguing was um that it was like the restreaming because she's just playing the live feed, which is just ignorant. But like
Well,
actually for what I'm talking about is actually when you click into the stream, it's written right across the top.
they're in court right now, so I don't want to click on it.
Yeah, yeah. No. No, I think it's crazy. I'm glad. I mean, I feel bad for court staff, but kudos to everybody that jumped on it, and jumped on it for the right reasons. And if you care about the victims, and the family and all those that were impacted, then you follow the rules and you make sure that you know what the rules are and you respect and understand that all of this is a privilege and not a right. you know and
Right.
federal court, they don't do any, there's no streaming, there's no recording, there's no nothing in federal court. And the state courts have been kind of open to it, but it's just quickly two things that are happening. It's quickly getting out of control, and like turning into a circus, and also um, costing the costs that are surrounding publicly broadcasting is getting to be ridiculous.
So
So I don't.
this is KGET's one of their articles that came out at the big. Actually, this one's only 6 days old, but there was also another article at the beginning of the trial that laid it out pretty clear. And it says the trial began on March 28th with cameras allowed for 2 days of opening statements. Those who couldn't make it inside the courtroom could listen through an audio stream provided by the Kern County Superior Court.
Mhm.
The court has not been in session this week. It talks about how hundreds have logged on. This is the first time that there's been a need to increase the number of licenses to accommodate the number of people accessing the audio live stream. And then it says they've upped it to 800. Okay. With a highly sensitive case, Judge Charles Bremer has implemented restrictions for what is allowed to be recorded. There are no cameras allowed for witness testimony, but the audio is streamed through the County Superior Court's website.
Mhm.
And I should. Okay, and then here it says, but some don't play by the rules. Davis has said she is aware of illegal streaming of proceedings on other platforms and will bring it up to the court's attention.
Yeah, I saw that.
Mhm.
And it was that's local press, and that court, like the um depends on, it's the clerk, or somebody in that judicial chambers, knew what was going on and knew who it was that would disseminate it, right? Local news right away. That was really good, because that, plaster that all over YouTube, and that's what it takes to throw it in Betty's face, right? To stop.
Mhm.
Because
Well,
even her, oh, I'm just going to private it. No, you don't private it, delete it.
right. It needs to be
You broke the
completely
rule.
deleted
Delete
because
it.
any of us who still have the link to that stream can go and click on it and see it. So it means it's still out there. Um, I think she just needs to do the completely right thing and delete it altogether, remove it. And I'm not even suggesting, I know there are people who are like, "Oh, you should have your channel taken away or this or that." I'm not even saying that. I don't whatever. That's
I
YouTube's
that
issue, that's the court's issue, that's not my issue.
And the court
My
doesn't
is
have jurisdiction over
right.
YouTube, and YouTube
Right, and
doesn't
I
have
don't
court.
know that it's a terms is I don't know any of those
Yeah.
things, and I'm not suggesting those
Yeah.
things. What I'm saying is do better, be better. Give these boys the justice they deserve by doing your due diligence. And
Well,
I don't think it's wrong or outside of our scope for calling out someone who couldn't follow the rules and couldn't take the time to look this up on their own.
yeah, and I think let's change our terminology, because you know, um Betty likes to use due diligence. Let's use, follow the rules. It's like
Mhm.
playing a game, right? You read the rules of the game before you engage in the game, and you follow them, right? That's all you need
Right.
to do. It's really basic. Like 4-year-olds can, 5-year-olds can understand that. It's for sure second and third graders that can read understand that, right? I mean,
Mhm.
it's not asking for much. But yeah, in terms of like YouTube and taking down a channel in that,
Yeah.
um, I think that, that creates jurisdictional problems as well, because again, we know YouTube doesn't have adequate resources for as large of a platform as it is, and I can guarantee you the court doesn't have the resources, okay, to
Right.
do that. Or even how would it happen? I mean, if I try to get in communicate with YouTube on issues that are pretty serious involving some YouTube stuff, it takes about a week sometimes for somebody to get back. From legal, it doesn't happen right away. But here's what each and every person on YouTube can do is self police, require and demand better. And for all those clowns that were in that chat and on her channel listening when it was clear there were red flags and people in there all over saying you can't do it, even saying person after person after person saying the judge just said you can't do this, right? And she was calling them all liars and haters. So, like, don't follow creators that do that. Even if you are a sub of somebody, right? And you like 99% of what they do. When they do things that are breaking the rules that compromise justice for victims, you need to unplug. You need to not be watching them, you know?
Sorry, I was muted on
No,
accident.
go ahead.
No, no, no. I was agreeing with you and chatting away, and then it
Oh,
wasn't even there. What can I
yeah.
do?
So it's unfortunate this happened. I'm glad you were right on it. And, shout out to Mystery Maven who got, it out there with a lot of, the procedural. And I just wanted to jump up because I saw a lot of stuff about, well, she called, no, she didn't, and hold her in
Right.
contempt and not just to explain like really how the process works. And again, we
Mhm.
have the best justice system in the world.
We do.
And sometimes even as being a lawyer, it's tough. And I know that there's inherent unfairness and some biases and prejudices and that kind of stuff built in it, but at the end of the day, it's better than any other form of justice in the world. And we only maintain the integrity of that process when we respect it, and we honor it, and we treat it as a privilege, to be an observer of the process in action.
Right. And I don't think, like here the Glare said, hold the breakers accountable. And and I don't think that that's wrong for us to do, to say, hey, if you're going to be in this genre, you're going to be doing these things. We are going to hold you accountable for your actions. And this one is affecting a lot of people.
So I'm wondering why, or wondering how, as creators, because right, I'm speaking to you as
Hmm.
someone who is a professional in the system, not a creator, is, and so I see it differently, and sometimes it might come off like I see it more harshly,
Hmm.
um, because it just seems to be a lot of noise and interference and in the system, and no court has to really go to these lengths. And so the Galera says punish those, that don't follow the rules. But how do we punish them? I mean, the court can't
Well,
punish them and YouTube can't
he
punish them.
didn't say punish them. He said hold them accountable. And to
How?
me, that just means the only thing that we can do is to shine light on it, to, bring awareness to the fact that these bad actors are taking place, they're existing, and they're doing these things. Because there are people that watch these streams or are still in those chats, and they think that this is perfectly acceptable just because their favorite creator told them it's acceptable. When we can bring proof and facts and show them that no, it's not acceptable. And this is why it's not acceptable. And this is why, and because of our love and our concern for victims, this is why we're going to call it out and say, hey, it's not acceptable.
I agree with that 100%. And I know like styles of creators are different. And the
Hmm.
Glarer is in your chat is, and I'm not watching chat, by the way. So if people are doing stuff, I just don't watch the chat when I'm on. Is so, then I guess I'm with your logic and your reasoning, as being a creator is, so the creators, um, pointing this out in, the way the Glarer does and Burnt Toast does, and that is, it'll be interesting to see clips of her sitting there justifying everything she's doing and doing side by sides of the screens. And I hate to say this, but she's the village idiot.
Hmm.
And that's a term of art. She's the village
Right.
idiot, and you need to make an example of, like, this is what happens when you don't find out what the rules of engagement are and follow them.
Right. And I mean, right now that's being held true for Molly with her being terminated. Like, if you're not going to Yes, we have the First Amendment, we have all those things, but YouTube is a private company. And so you still have to follow their rules here.
Right, right, right. It's a privilege.
Hmm.
You're an associate and you're in business with YouTube, and they have obligations, ethical and otherwise, as well. So I kind of like that. I'm glad that I asked the question, and listened to what you said, because I think that each creator, like, I love the clip channels, is that's where I see some of the stuff that happens. But I also like when people, um, are really brutally honest in exposing some of this behavior. And like I said, I saw
Right.
her sitting on her bed in her bedroom and justifying and screaming at people and saying to,
Yeah.
time people out, and that, I think, playing, that and making her the village idiot. She's
Right.
exhibit A. Like, if you're not going to find out what the rules of engagement are of the game before
Hmm.
you begin the game, right? The rules of engagement
Right.
before you get into the process, and each court is different, it's not the same, then this is what you're going to look like.
Well, and I think as a community on YouTube, we want to hold each other accountable because if we don't, things like this are going to be banned. It could, yes, it could lead to courts not allowing even their audio to be heard unless you're there in the courtroom, like
Right,
you said.
right.
But it
Yeah.
could also, things like this where right here we've got Rabbit Hole's post where she shared that Kaga is shared out that the Kern County Superior Court is working to remove illegal postings of audio of the Trezell and Jacqueline West trial from online platforms. So this could also lead to YouTube saying, "Oh, crud, we don't want to deal with this. We don't want a lawsuit on our hands. We don't want these courts coming against our platform." And it could lead to YouTube saying, "Nope, we're not going to allow this streaming whether, the courts
Yeah.
allow it or not. We're going to nix it." And so that's why I think it's fair for
And you see,
the
that's what,
general community to call it
right.
out and say, "Hey, do it right. Get it right."
And I think that, that reinforces, I'm looking at what you posted, is that's local news, so they know how to
Mhm.
get the word out in real time. But I will again say, the reality is the court doesn't have the resources to be able to do that. Here's what I suspect that means. From what I could tell in the few minutes that I, like, listened and saw that, while I was traveling today, is they know Bullhorn Betty. There was a lot of calls that were made on her, which also flooded their resources. So I think that, and I don't know if there's other creators, but that whoever was called, that there were calls made to the court reporting people. So I think those people, and Betty says, I gave them my phone number and my cell phone and my email and whatever. I'm damn sure she got a call.
So you're saying that a court does not have the power to remove an audio recording on from anywhere if they have ordered it not to be played?
They don't have, I mean, YouTube has, the court has jurisdiction over YouTube because YouTube is a company that, well, maybe, that broadcasts, like, it has, contacts, which is what, a legal term of art. It has contacts and does business in every state, every county, every city, and, the country, and many, many, many countries, right?
Mhm.
So, so what the court would do is give its order to what YouTube, and say, you're in partnership with all these creators, scrub this from your site. They could very, very well do that. But what I'm going to tell you is knowing the administrative end of it, it's not like there's, it's going to get immediate attention. It's going to go to legal, and then it's going to have to pass through, a number of layers of legal, and then legal's going to write back. And you see what I'm saying? And by then you've lost a lot of time, where, simply disengaging that link is kind of, the deal. And yeah, can they get it off of there? It's a legal, it really is, a legal question of how much does the court, which is, the court's legal counsel, so the judge can put it out, but to actually enforce it, you're going to have to get the county's legal attorney, legal involved. And you know what I mean? It's just a lot of resources that are intended for justice that are now being put into administrative to get clowns that won't follow the rules to follow it.
Yeah.
I do think they would have a very difficult time. Um, it doesn't mean that it won't happen. It just might take time to happen, because how does YouTube even, once it gets to YouTube, and let's say YouTube says, okay, we're going to send something out to all the creators to get this off their channels, or, I don't know. I mean, all that goes through layers of approval as well. And it's just a lot of time, and resources. Um, justice in the legal system, it doesn't move fast, and there's a lot of layers here. The only other way I think that they could do it, and I'm not into this is, I mean, I know where my area of expertise is and isn't, but it would be talking to someone that does like high tech, and I'm sure there's people on YouTube that do this high tech IT work, to know that if you could ban it by, or pull it by putting in certain terms. I
Right.
don't know.
I don't know. I'm just gonna go. I mean, KGET has been handling this. They were the media outlet that was allowed to stream the
Yeah.
opening statements and stuff. And if they're saying that the Kern County Superior Court is working to remove it, I'm gonna believe that.
Yeah, I'm telling you right now that
Mhm.
Betty got a call. I'm I'm damn sure Betty got a call and told to remove. We don't know how many other creators were. That's the first step and the easiest step. Now,
Right.
are there other people? Like, I don't know. But I would say that that's probably, because it doesn't say they're working with, YouTube, and we don't know the magnitude of the problem, right?
Right. Well, and if if KGET is the only media source that is allowed to put this content out, then it could be as simple as them contacting the creator and
No,
saying, "Hey,
Kagan
please
would,
remove it."
it would have to come through the court.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
I'm
don't.
not saying, like,
Yeah.
they obviously cannot remove it. I'm
Oh,
saying, like,
okay.
it could be as, just a general courtesy of saying, "Hey, you know, you're not the legal source to play this. Could you please remove the content?" I don't know, something like that
Oh,
perhaps,
like
but
that WFLA thing?
yeah.
Yeah, true,
So,
true.
no, she did not leave the stream up once the court called her back and told her to, that she was not allowed to stream the audio. She did make it, she
It-
unlisted it. It's not private, it's not deleted, it's unlisted because I can still click on the link and
Oh,
go to
okay.
it.
And I don't know what the distinctions are, but Tracy, yeah, she said she was gonna make it private, which it should
Mhm.
be just deleted.
It should. She said she did say she'd put it back up later once she was allowed to that evening, but I think she just has it mixed up in her head, the rules of the Vallow case versus these rules, so hopefully she will quickly learn since the end of that live stream that no, this cannot be played at all.
Yeah, and I don't know what those procedurally, how and when and how it can happen, but it's like, if you broke the rule, we call it in the law, it's the fruit of the poisonous tree, right? If you broke the rules to get what you have, then it
Mhm.
all goes away.
Yeah,
Like, delete it, delete it.
right.
But I think that, I don't know the whole history, and you telling me that this has been an ongoing problem really, is really, really, really unfortunate. But
I'm pretty sure this is the second time that at least the second time that I'm aware of where they have had to, do something to get the audio removed. Yeah.
yeah, well, it's really unfortunate. I appreciate you letting me come up, and I appreciate
Thank you.
you and everybody. I don't, like I said, I'm not in your chat, but chasing the glare, all of you, people that, you got to keep you got to keep people accountable in your community. And that means that if that means you're a quote unquote hater, that means that you're a hater, because you know what
Call
what
me a hater then.
what comes out of exposing a village idiot is justice and due process for any defendant. Then it,
Right.
particularly in this case, is, you have a pretty good idea what the verdict, may be, but we never ever know. And 33 years, and I still can't tell you what a jury is going to do. So Like putting
They
stuff in
don't.
there like, grounds for a mistrial based on, something that happens that's totally out of the control of the prosecution, the defense, and the judge. We don't want that. We need to respect the process and the rules of engagement for participating in the process. That's a privilege.
Yes. And that's what we should remember is that as creators again, we should just follow the rules. It's very simple so that we can continue, and I say we, I don't, live stream trials or anything like that, but just collectively as creators so that we can continue to do what we enjoy doing in this genre, which is covering true crime and getting, justice for these victims. And
Yeah.
I am worried that a few bad apples will spoil the whole bunch.
Yeah. And it's just so much trickier with this issue than with the protesting and, harassment of victims and their families, where legislation could be enacted because it's to the, a lot of times it is ultimately the discretion of the judge, but judges are in the courtroom, from 8 in the morning till 6 at night and doing work, in between that. Like they're not necessarily familiar with what's really happening on YouTube. For example, even when we started with COVID, doing the Zoom that was on YouTube, um, it goes through the learning curve and then reporting what's happening as attorneys, what we see versus what they see, because, it's just everybody kind of working together. And if we're protecting the rights of people in within the justice system, then it's all good. But sometimes the advancement in technology is faster than we can figure out the rules, and how to protect it, because there's always that, one or two, like you said, the one or two bad apples that are spoil it for the whole bunch. And 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 the goal is to find the balance.
Mhm. Yes,
So, well,
I agree.
thanks for everything that you do, and thanks to everybody in your chat for supporting Deets. You do an amazing
Thank you.
job. And I've got to run. I've got to actually a board meeting in 10 minutes.
Well, thank you for
All
coming up
right.
and
Take care.
explaining that.
Bye
Thank
bye.
you. Bye,
Love to
hon.
you all. Bye.
So I like to also apply it on a broader scope because it's not just about following the rules of the court, right? It's about justice for the victims. And that's what I feel like a lot of us are here for is justice for these victims. And if you know anything about, Classic and Sincere's case, if you've read the affidavit, even just, listen to one news article, you know how horrific it was, and you know that the minors involved, not just the boys, but others. And so it's a very tough case, as are the other 2 cases that are going on right now at this time. Sorry, I got a message that made me laugh. Um, there is so much where we want to protect the victims. And that, for me personally, is what is so important is protecting those victims' rights and making sure that they get their fair justice. And it's kind of why I personally like to correct misinformation, even if it's little bits of misinformation, because those things are like a ripple in a pond. When you drop a drop of water in a pond and how that ripple effect goes out and impacts so many others that hear it and run with it. And we see it so much in Summerwell's case. And sorry to reference her, but we see it in all these cases too, where it just goes out further and further. And for me, it's just really frustrating. It's very frustrating. And I try not to get angry or frustrated at much. And I try to let things roll off my back. But when I see things like this where victims' rights, because this was their right, their right to their trial and for the rules to be followed, it gets very frustrating. Very frustrating. Yes, I agree, Team Brittany. Her sense of entitlement has crossed the double yellow line today. Oh, it was something else. And right. If you followed this case at all, you would know, like I said in the beginning of the stream, but I know, some people were just coming in. If you have followed this case even just a tiny bit, you would know that the restreaming was not allowed. Hi, Tragedy Pimps. I heard Betty said she had permission from. No, she didn't say she had permission from the DA. She said she had permission from the courts. She claimed that she called into the courts to find out how to get to the audio stream. I keep calling it a stream, but it's just the audio. But how to get to the audio stream. And she claimed that she told them that she was with the Bullhorn Betty channel and that she was going to be streaming it. And they still showed her and told her how to set that up. Obviously, none of us have any way of proving whether that's what took place or not. But I just with the way that this case has gone, I find it extremely hard to believe that even just a receptionist answering the phone would have said, "Oh yeah, restream it." She did say the DA. I recorded it, so I'll have to go back and listen, but I was recording it on 2X, but I thought she just said the courts. If she said the DA, I can't with this woman. Did she seriously say the DA? What the heck is wrong with her? Wow. Yeah, he did. He released him weeks ago. She said she had permission. No, she did not. And as we saw in that the court ruling, it's written permission at that. So we know it says right there written permission from the judge, or I don't remember if it said judge or court, but written permission. And she absolutely did not have that if she just called him today on her day off or whatever she was calling it. She said clerk because that's what I said and who I spoke to. She changed it after. Oh, she changed it to wow. Drug bust, Dudley, H. Officer. Yeah, yeah, I saw that earlier, but I haven't dug into it to know all the details of what's going on. I did. Oh my gosh. Yeah, multiple people are saying she said DA. I must have missed that at the beginning. I can't believe she's a paralegal. How would she not? Jeez. Yeah, this one was something. Um, yeah, that was something else. Something else. I agree. She does lie to lie. I think she gets she yeah, because she didn't have permission. Absolutely did not have permission. She was walked through a process and she thought she could BS her way out of it and BS her way through explaining it. And there are so many people that care for these two little boys and care for the justice for them that has taken so long to even get to this trial point that no one's going to believe that BS or buy that BS. She needs to start brush. I don't care about her hair. Uh, okay, I'll have to go and check that out. She mentioned this exact thing 5 days ago in her video titled On a New Platform to See If I Like It 3820. Did she say that it wasn't allowed to be streamed? I don't bullying with cotton balls, I don't think that she needs to be mass reported to anyone. I think that the court is well aware of what happened, and I don't think anybody needs to be calling anyone else on it. I mean, you can do what you want, but I that's just my personal opinion that it doesn't need to be. No, I could not imagine her as a paralegal working on a case for me. Yep. And the Valo case is absolutely it's audio after the fact, and you have to purchase it. East Idaho News has said that you can use their recordings. You just have to give them credit for it. So if you don't want to purchase it for yourself, you can check out East Idaho News on their YouTube. I can't remember if they're putting it on their YouTube channel or just their website, but one of those is definitely sharing it. And they said as long as you give them credit. Oh, yeah, no problem, NorCal girl. She was not suggesting that anyone else call, she was saying that she was going to call, and so and I don't have a problem with someone wanting to call in. I'm just saying that that's not what, I don't think there should be a call to arms for that because the court is, enough people did call already. They're well aware of it. They know where it happened and they're handling it. She was um she was on the Kern County website where the audio is streamed through and she was just streaming it from there onto her platform. I say stream, but it's just a audio. That's all it is. Are they? Okay, so Crime Talk is as well. And Law and Crime isn't streaming it. Yeah. Yeah, that's another big one. Good point. Like Law and Crime, they stream so many trials, but especially the big cases like this one would be. If they're not streaming it, you'd think that'd be a huge red flag to most people. What's the timestamp? Headstones, and I'll pull it up and we'll listen. Was it the one that was given earlier? Oh my gosh. Yes. Thanks, Team Brittany. They're still selling the audio. Yes. Well, Tracy, America's favorite child advocate, believes that children should be euthanized. She absolutely does. They're her words, not mine. Breaks my heart. Uh, if you mean the Vala one, yes, you can stream the audio after it has been released for purchase at the end of the day. Oh my gosh, yeah, I remember that girl sharing. The whole analogy of the way she was comparing us to dogs, and I oh, I didn't know what to think of all that. Did I miss headstones given a timestamp of that? I think I can scroll back up to see what the other one said. But I mean, everybody in here, I know you've given your opinions, but if anyone else has anything else they want to say about it or how they feel, because I just feel like these things affect us all because like I said earlier, I feel like it hurts our community as a whole. We're all trying to do things the ethical way and cover these cases the ethical way, even if it's just in, channels like myself who sometimes cover things or sometimes correct misinformation. We're trying to do it by the rules and, you know, give the victims the justice that they deserve. And things like that. So I find it very frustrating that we still have these creators out here doing this and not taking 5 minutes and doing a little bit of research and knowing what is allowed and what isn't allowed. Maybe that's just me. Oh, yeah, no, you can't share it at all. At all. Oh, Johnson, have you not heard Betty comparing humans to dogs and we're all mammals and even give birth and have hair? I don't remember where else she went with it. It was insane. But basically, she said that she believes in the death penalty for minors, was her sentiment. Because, what was her exact words on that? Um, some people's hearts and my hearts just can't change, which I get with adults. I get why people feel like that with adults, but children are minors are very impressionable, and the research on your frontal lobe and all that stuff not being fully developed until you're even into your mid 20s. And so to think that a minor can't be rehabilitated, I think that that's crazy for a child advocate to believe that. I agree, Cape. Until there's some like accountability that hurts their pockets, there's not going to be a change. I don't. Oh, she did know it could be streamed. Okay, I was trying to find headstones. Maybe she's behind. See if she give us a timestamp on that. Okay, on that video, 28:30. Okay, let me look that up real quick. Sorry, I guess I was behind. Uh, this is really gonna torque us all off if she already knew this. Did it anyway. New platform. Is that what you guys said? On a new platform to see if I like it. Okay. Mm, oof, oof, that was loud. Okay. There we go. 28:30. Let me turn her down a little bit because she's a loud girl.
The audio and restreaming it on other platforms, the audio and stuff, handling our raffle and other fundraising for the channel, fundraising stuff that we do in the future, activities, fundraising activities. So they're saying that by utilizing the audio and restreaming it on other platforms, it is illegally streaming this. If it's open to the public, it's open to the public.
Are you kidding me? Betty.
And if you're having problems, this is where I have problems with bureaucrats and everything like that. You're saying you're having a problem with the amount of people on your platform live streaming the audio. If there's platforms that could take some of that audience away from clogging up the system, you would think that they would be willing to hear it. It is a public record. Anybody can go in here and log on to it and listen for themselves. Who gives a crap whether they're being listened to off your phones or on your phones? If it's open to the public, it's open to the public. There should not be restrictions on where it can be streamed or who can listen.
I was trying to give her the benefit of the doubt here for a second and think, okay, maybe she still just doesn't understand because she's that tense. But no, here she just said she's frustrated about the restrictions.
It's open to the public. There should not be restrictions on where it can be streamed or who can listen to it. It's open to the public. If it's no different for the 200 people in a chat to go over there and clog their phone systems to listen to the audio, what does it matter if 200 people decide to listen to one stream of the audio versus 200 open?
Okay, so this really torques me off because she was going on and on in her live stream of today about how about these same things, and she knew this. What day was this? What day was this, Betty? Get your act together, girl. 5 days ago, you knew that you were not able to stream this. You knew the courts didn't want it, and you knew what it entailed, and you did it anyway today. What the hell?
Telephone lines. It just those are the types of things in government that just don't make sense. And it just it does truly drive me up a wall.
The things that you do drive me up a wall. Like, I just. So, what was today all about? Did you forget 5 days ago that you read through this? You knew it couldn't be live streamed, and you thought, there's no other trial on. Let me just go grab the West trial and just share it out. And maybe I'll go to a rally in the middle of it too and leave it running for my subs. What the heck? This is frustrating. I'm just I'm just flabbergasted. Yeah, and to lie about a DA on top of it is so frustrating that her subs believe this stuff. The people that follow her and listen to her daily heard this 5 days ago. If you're paying attention in her chat, you would have known 5 days ago that she couldn't do it. Yeah, maybe this is her version of a protest, which don't play fast and loose with justice of missing and murdered children. Sheesh. Sorry, I'm trying to scroll to the bottom of the comment section. Yeah. No, you really do suck in this instance, Betty. You knew better. You knew better. No, I hope she doesn't harass those teenagers either. Let the law take care of it. Cover it if you want to cover it, but yeah, well, yeah. I I didn't catch all of Burnt Toast live. I caught the end of it, and then I caught something else. But yeah, I saw that too. That she's just everyone's corrupt. All law enforcement is corrupt everywhere. But then you love law enforcement and back the blue and make it make sense. She's always telling law enforcement how to do their job. Always. Yeah, I saw that Tonka Girl. I have it in the screen recording. Some of her mods were really vicious, and it's just people that were just trying to tell her not to do this. And now she already knew. She already knew. I'm lost. Ugh. Did you go over it last night? Sorry, I was wiped out last night and missed like all of YouTube. I did fall asleep too. Uh, I had set my phone to screen record Molly on Jilly Bean's panel, and then I fell right asleep. And thankfully, my phone was nice enough to screen record all of it, so that was interesting. Yeah, they did. They called everyone else stupid. No one knew what they were talking about. But if they would have just listened to their own leader, she told them 5 days ago. 5 days ago. I don't know if there's anything as a community that we can do besides what we're already doing. And it becomes very discouraging that you're continually, calling out bad acts like this or continually bringing awareness to these things. And a new set of BS comes along every day, it feels like. And it gets really discouraging. And my heart just breaks for the victims, their families, their loved ones, anyone who's ever supported them and wanted to see something better for them. And I don't know what the answer is. No, we can't fix stupid. It's just for me, it's the audacity, it's the tone of the voice, it's the knowing that just definitely knowing that they're always right. Like I'm right. I'm right. And this is why I'm right when they're actually wrong. And the people that they're hurting along the way, because they are hurting real people. See, I don't necessarily agree with that because what happens is what we see happening with Molly. She just goes to another platform and the lies and the bad behavior continue. And so the victims are still hurt. That hurt towards families and loved ones still continue. It's not a changed behavior. Yeah, Cabe, I think you're right. You can't stay 5 steps ahead of crazy. No, I don't think she'll last on Kick either, but the behavior continues on another platform. And so the reason that a lot of us try to bring awareness to the lies, the misinformation, the bad behavior is because of the victims. And so when it just gets taken to another platform, it all just carries on. And some people care to go and call it out from that platform, and others don't. And you just have a whole new set of people being bamboozled. I agree, Jenny. I do think that the audience will drastically fall away along with the money. I don't know what their intentions are. I don't know if, things started with good intentions and led to just being about money, or if it's ignorance of, just not comprehending things. I'm not entirely sure. I struggle to believe that people are solely in it for the money, but it's becoming more and more believable in my eyes. Yes, I agree, Cheesy Weezy. I want them to do better. Do better. Just do better. Be better. Yeah, I hope so. I don't know how to say, is it Hakob or Hakob? Like, I'm not for sure how to say that first part of your name. I've always wondered. Channel termination does, yep, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. I had clipped her on Jilly's, and there was a portion on there where she was talking about getting her last paycheck, her 8,000 and some $300 last paycheck. Um, Guys, I am so sorry to leave you up here with no one talking, but I need to let my dog out on his tie out because he's starting to whine a little bit. I really, really hate to do that. I'm so sorry. When I get back, I'll tell you this story. I am so sorry about that. I don't know if he really had to go potty because he just went not too long ago, but we have a auto mower. That's what covers our whole acre and a half is this little auto mower that goes around basically 24/7 mowing. We call him Franklin because he looks like a little turtle. And I think you heard him outside and he was wanting to go out and bark at it probably. But anyway, um, she was talking about her $8,000 paycheck, her last paycheck that she still was going to get. And she proclaimed that she was going to get it. And I had heard that and I cut that portion out of what I recorded. And I was going to prove that no, that's not true. And I know because it happened to me. But then I thought about it. Like, I'm replying to this comment, where to go, about, people still talking about her because I'm struggling with that internal battle of wanting to correct that misinformation and say, no, you're not getting that 8 grand. Sorry, sis. And just not talking about her. I don't know. I get both sides of it. I get both sides of the debate completely. Should we just not talk about her or continue covering her? And I don't fault anyone for doing either. I just have personally an internal struggle of what I want to do. I just have an internal struggle of what I want to do with this channel as a whole, though. Ugh. An elder told me there was only one perfect man. He was exactly 6 feet tall, and we all know what they did to him. Well, yeah, nobody is perfect. Absolutely. And I extend grace. Like, I want to believe the best in people, and I want to believe that it was just a mistake. And I get people with strong personalities like Betty's and the personality of, oh, I can't be wrong, even if everybody's telling me I'm wrong. But going back and hearing that she knew 5 days ago, I mean, come on. I don't know that there's anywhere to extend grace to that. Yeah, drama versus victim advocacy, I get that. Is another thing, like, I wanted to cover what Laura said about Joneson. The things that she said about her were so vile. I don't know if anyone went and listened to them. It was so gross. It's so uncalled for. It didn't need to go to that level, and but then I just had that own my own internal struggle of, well, if I cover it, then I'm just giving her a little bit of attention. I don't know what the answer is. I don't. When she live streamed the court, is this like it's on TV and she showed it on here and that's not no, it's on the county court's website and it's an audio so you can hear the trial happening. Um, and it's just for you to privately go and hear. You're not supposed to be streaming it out, rebroadcasting it, recording it, any of those things. You can take notes on it. Yeah, I don't know, Michelle. I don't know what's right for me in this channel anymore. I truly don't. I don't know, do I want to cover just true crime cases? Do I want to commentate on people criticized? Um, I could do both. I don't see why that's a problem. I know some subs have issues with it, and I take the feedback that I'm given, to heart, and I'm just being legit. I just don't know. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. The frustration comes with here lately. I haven't been covering much of the crime cases, and I think that's what's getting frustrating to me is that I haven't been digging as hard into researching cases that like I have in the past, and so I don't know where I want to take things. There are so many great true crime channels out there, and there are so many people in this community that go, like, live, and I love going to them and listening to them, which is why I started clipping channels to begin with, but and I'm like, "Who wants to come and hear me?" when they have, like, all these amazing creators, like, you guys and Chasing and Gray Hugh and, you know, there's so many amazing creators out there to go and listen to. I wish I knew. Starve it out, freeze it out. I don't know. Yeah, it does. Yeah, it is. Um, there are some amazing clip channels out there, and you guys know them all. You know them all. Cheesy Weezy, Heels. She's the queen of clip channels. Um, Minister Sobriety. There's so many that just aren't coming to my mind right now. Tragedy Pimps, Chronicles of the Shady, um, headstones. There are so many amazing clip channels out there. And I know that the work they're putting in is hard. It's a lot to put together a video. And so I admire each and every one of them. They are doing tremendous things. I love watching them and I love watching true crime creators too. They're all, putting in their time and effort. It's hard to make a video, and to make a video entertaining that people want to listen to, even, and it's hard for me to like make it short. That's what my, in the beginning of this channel, my clips are actually really long. I felt bad, but I wanted to put in that full context. And, but there are some amazing channels out there who are able to condense that and get it into a short, 3 to 5 minute segment for you to watch. And I know it takes a lot of work to put that in. It can take anywhere from 2, 3 to even 6 hours to put it together. If that's just a quick one, if you're gathering clips for other things, it can take days. That JLR thing I did took me like a week. So like I know it's a lot of work and I admire them for that. But lives are too. They're not easy either. And so I really look up to, Queen Bee and The Glare and Chasing Truth and um, there yeah, down the rabbit hole news and like creators that go live and do their thing. It's really hard. It's a lot of work too. Even Betty going live and just yelling at people. I know that they're putting in work when they do those things. And that's why I've never ever came at anyone about the money that they make on YouTube. Unless it's scamming and hurting victims in the process of getting it. But I know everyone's puts in time to do these things. Absolutely. Lives are easy if you got a big mouth. I don't got a big mouth, I don't feel like. I Sometimes I think, like, when I created this live, like, "Oh, I got a lot to say on it," and then I'm like, "Oh, well, maybe I didn't really have so much to say. I probably coulda just handled it in a video." Uh, I agree. Yeah, I agree. So many just want the hate speech to continue. I I don't know. He's all bark and no bite. Well, maybe a little bit of bite, but he's definitely all bark. A lot of bark. A lot of bark. There's a lot of guys on here with little man syndrome, but I'll keep that to myself. Why now your Doug tragedy pimp? I don't know. Oh, I like that. It's your time and energy, so do what makes your heart happy. Your followers will always be there because your vibe does, in fact, attract your tribe, and your tribe rocks. I like that. I have a lot of things going on in my personal life that are really awesome and exciting and new for our family, and I can't freaking wait. And so it does actually, it does have me reassessing things. And when I got into YouTube true crime, it was because I was a empty nester, the new stages of being an empty nester. And so now, like this next stage, it's like, how much time do I really want to apply to YouTube because it's gonna be freaking awesome. And I love it when I go into like rabbits chat and there is like a family there. I do love that. I think that's exciting. And I think people like that. They like to feel like they belong to that personal creators community and their personal family. So I like that. I think it's great when creators have that. Oh, cheesy weezy. My babies are in their mid-20s, early 20s. They have been out of the house. My youngest got married a year ago. Actually, she just celebrated her 1 year anniversary. And my oldest, he moved out like this before he was 18 because he graduated early and moved out before he started college. And he actually bought his first house when he was 17 years old. And he moved in either it was right before he was 18 or right after, but it was right around then. So those who are against termination are apparently against TOS, right? I don't I don't know if I understand that question. Like I am completely for people following TOS and if they break it then yeah, they should be terminated. Like, Molly, she broke toss. She deserved to be terminated because she didn't follow YouTube's guidelines. But I don't know, like, what I mean by I don't feel like terminational help is because it's not a changed behavior. You see what I mean? Like, she broke YouTube's rules and they kicked her out, but she didn't, you know, stop being the tragedy pimp or stop treating victims' families the way that in a poor light, things like that. Hi, Willow. I know. I hear it's so weird because I told my daughter that yesterday. We went and got our hair done, and it'd been a hot minute. And I said, "Do I have a young voice? Like, do I sound like this? Because I keep getting comments about that." And she was like, "No, you just sound like you always do." I don't know. It's just funny how she was like, "Whatever," but she sounds like me too. Oh, Willow, we were talking about Betty. Now it's kind of dwindled down. We're just kind of shooting the shit and talking about everything about Molly's termination and how some of us feel that it doesn't matter. Like, the termination isn't the goal because she didn't change. You know, the goal is changed behavior. Oh, I love that, Peppermint. I love that he's managing his story work that. Good for him. You thought I was 25? No, absolutely not. Although, me and my bestie joke that we celebrate the anniversary of our 25th birthday, so does that count? Maybe? No, not even in my 30s anymore, unfortunately. Nope, yep, I got grown babies. My babies are growing up. So did everybody think I was in my mid-20s? Jeez. Well, no, I wouldn't hold your breath either. Um, but that's the goal, isn't it? Rehabilitation, change for everyone. Well, congrats, happy birthday. I just turned 40, actually, about a month ago. A little over a month ago. And everyone's like, "Oh, 40 is gonna be crazy." Nah. Thanks, Grandma Sherry. I'm gonna be getting off of here soon too, anyway. If Betty is terminated, YouTube will be Betty free for a week. I don't even give it a week. Like, I think that's what is so discouraging, and maybe I'm just in a slump and I need to get over it. Is there's always going to be Betty's, there's always going to be Molly's, there's always going to be Laura's and uh, JLR's and wallpaper. There's always going to be people that go too far, that step over the line, that spread misinformation, lie, insert themselves. There's always going to be those people, isn't there? Yeah. There's always going to be those families that are affected and hurt and speak out after their daughter's murder trial and let the world know how social media hurt them. That breaks my heart. No, you can never correct your mother. If she tells you she's 21, I don't care if you're 65, you say, "Yes, mom." Yep, we do all have to sit at the same table, and I like that. And we all should be held accountable for our actions, myself included. I didn't know anything at 25, Willa. I thought I did, though. Mm. Yes, we absolutely will watch their civil cases. They would be the ones that's the kicker, though. They would be the ones arguing, having their attorneys argue to have them shut down and not broadcast. Mm. Hey, Burden. There's another great true crime channel right there. She covers so many facts and with empathy. Yeah. I like that, Pecan. I like that. Yeah, that's a great point, Cheesy Weezy. Even if they go down or they go to a different platform, you still have the ones that were left behind. It's like that ripple effect I was talking about earlier. You still have that. Marshmallow, you play nice. Oh, that's a very positive, hopeful way to look at it. I'm hoping. Unfortunately, I feel like a lot of people, a lot of creators learn it don't learn it until it affects them, until they have their own personal tragedy, their own personal event. And I just wonder, when that happens, do they think about the victims and their loved ones that they hurt before they had their own revelation? Do they have that compassion or that empathy or the wherewithal to know, man, what I did previously was wrong and I regret it? Yeah, hippie, I made a clip of that because some children are not worth saving. That tells me everything I need to know about a person. That statement alone. Yeah, yep, that's true. No, you're right, Kate. That is absolutely not permission to stream. Getting access was not permission to stream. Marshmallow is never nice. I didn't mean to do that. I guess we're gonna have like a role reversal going on here. Ah, be nice. What did I miss? Oh, Hippie, I'm sorry, love. I'm so sorry. Do you think it's solely I can't believe that it's solely for clicks and views on YouTube. Like, this is nothing. This is a little back alley of YouTube. Like, you can't be causing that much hurt and destruction just to impress a handful of people on YouTube. It blows my mind. Infamous truth teller. Betty live streamed the audio from their trial today, and she had several people come into her chat that were not hating on her, that were not being mean or bashing her, but telling her, you can't do this, you can't stream it, you need to take it down. And she stood on the fact that she had called the court. And allegedly she said that she spoke with the DA and he told her she could stream it, which we know is not true. And all that ensued thereafter. Yeah, I read about that, the real sunflower. I haven't talked on it because I haven't dove into it yet. Like, I don't know. Uh, I just heard that he was arrested for drugs, but I didn't read all the details yet. The candle kingpin. Okay. Man, I think that really backfired on her. Her setting Molly up on cake. I think she thought it would help her streams out somehow or something, or I I don't know, but from what I understand, Molly's definitely has more subs and is getting more views than Laura. I think that really backfired on Laura there, didn't it? You think she's hot, Marshmallow? She seems like she'd be your type. Yeah. And yeah, we proved she already knew that she couldn't do it and did it anyway. Which I'll probably put that in a small clip so it's not a long 2-hour live stream. Insane. Um, Avery, are you asking about Molly or Betty? Molly, to the best of my knowledge, is she's terminated, and Betty, I think, is just fine. I don't think it affected her or anything's affected her to that degree. Yeah, yeah, she really did. There's a there was a lot of people in there that don't watch her. They don't follow, this section of YouTube. They don't follow these clip channels or things like that. They're not her haters, as she likes to call them, that were in there because of, her title and what she was doing. And they wanted her to stop so that they could continue to listen to the trial every day. And she yelled at them and, degraded them because she felt people were just attacking her when people were just trying to tell her, no, you can't do this. Yeah, they do love that word hater. I don't know. I don't know. They're probably floating around over on Kick, maybe. Who knows? But I'm gonna hop off here and take my little doggy on a walk so that he is happy. But I just wanted to call this out, and I'm sorry that we chatted on for 2 hours, but my heart just breaks for the loved ones of these two boys. They deserve better. They deserve better from us as creators. We could at least try to give them the best. Thank you guys all for listening to me ramble, and I will see you on the next one.